Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest. We can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing. Zero zip, nothing. The boil on Caitlin Clark's ass, Angel Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups? Not I. They released the first television numbers, TNT did, and they're bragging about them because, well, they're the best they've ever been. Because they've only been once. It's like being the most handsome man at the Dakich family reunion. It sounds good, but it really doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. Look, let's be honest. The new women's basketball professional 3-on-3 league. The numbers were released from TNT, and they are not very good. There were 2 games on Friday night. Now, full disclosure, I'm a sports fan. Generally on Friday night, I don't have a lot to do. Golf season, I may golf till like 9, 10 o'clock because it stays light here. But in the winter, I don't have much to do. What am I going to do? Clubbing? No. Sit at a bar? Hoist beers with the fellas? Done that my whole life. Nah, usually I'm sitting around watching somebody or something. Landman is the current choice for me. But I didn't know. That the Unrivaled League was playing. I saw highlights of it or lowlights of it, and I got to tell you, it's really bad. Watching 5-on-5 women is bad enough, but 3-on-3 women, worse, in uniforms that look like they're playing in Siberia. But anyway, according to TNT PR, remember, I said TNT PR, which means public relations, which means they are in the business of making TNT and everything that appears on its network look good. Well, you can't shine this turd, as the old boys say, while they sit on the front porch whittling in southern Indiana. According to TNT PR, the 2 games on Friday night, the debut games for the new league, averaged 312,000 viewers. Now, I got to ask you, 312,000 viewers. Let's go to 300,011 viewers because there's probably 1,000 family members watching. What the hell? I mean, did you put your TV on? You're waiting for Charles Barkley on a Friday night hoops and you just left it on? I mean, what are you doing? 300,000 of you across this country actually turned a television on and watched the Unrivaled League? You can't be serious. Anyway, without Caitlin Clark, now that's 2 networks. That's True TV, and of course, that's TNT. The company isn't going to bash its own programming, obviously, and there's no chance that TNT executives are happy about these numbers now, despite their social media posting touting strong viewership. Well, that's what they're supposed to do. Look, come here. You and I both know, right? We both know. No Caitlin Clark, no watching. No Caitlin Clark in the league, no watching. I mean, let's just be honest. Caitlin Clark's in that league, viewership doubles, if not triples. Usually with a new league, viewership early, and then it settles in. This viewership, and now it'll settle in. Really? I missed Angel Reese on my phone playing? What? And by the way, I was just texting Laura Ingram's gal trying to get on the show. I like doing it once in a while. America's clamoring for more Dakich, but I digress. Strong viewership. Sure, the games happen on Friday night, which is not a great television viewing slot, unless, of course, it's the 80s. And that one lady is wearing Daisy Dukes on the Dukes of Hazzard, then every little boy stays in and watches the Dukes of Hazzard. However, one look at the WNBA ratings with Caitlin Clark shows just how much Unrivaled struggled without her. See, here's the deal. Friday night in the winter, and it's winter. Like last Friday night, it was winter. Sometimes we don't get winter. Sometimes it's nice all across. But all across the country, including down there in Alabama. And what do they call it? The hillbilly, what do they call that? The Redneck Riviera. That's what they call it. And then down into where my people reside, Naples, it was cold, it was windy, it was chilly, it was snowy. Everybody stayed inside. But they didn't watch Unrivaled. All right, Friday night isn't a great TV viewing slot unless, of course, it's the girl Daisy Dukes. However, one look at the WNBA ratings with Caitlin Clark shows just how much Unrivaled struggled without her. Heck, the Clark effect led to WNBA games that didn't even feature Clark, drawing an average of 400,000 viewers. The WNBA drew millions of viewers for its championship series, even though Clark's Indiana Fever were not involved. It's the Caitlin Clark effect. Now, it's going to wear off. It's starting to wear off on me. Yeah, it kind of is. Anyway, keep in mind that before Clark entered the WNBA, the league averaged around 300,000 viewers, 4 games in 2023. The number skyrocketed, of course, once Clark entered the league, with her games routinely cracking 1 million viewers. I'm goofy today, huh? You know, Monday I'm psychotic, and today I'm goofy. It's a weird world being up in here. The fact that Unrivaled simply reached the 2023 WNBA average on opening night is not a good sign. Here's why it's not a good sign. People thought there was great momentum for the WNBA and its players. People thought, you know, Angel Reese could draw. No, nobody wants to watch Angel Reese. Come on. Usually startup leagues do well in their debuts because people are curious to check out a new product. That's been true with the USFL, the UFL, the whatever the hell it is. That's always been true historically. Often, though, the ratings start to fall in the ensuing week. Right, water finds its level. One can reasonably assume that Saturday's numbers won't be any better than Friday's numbers, which makes the obvious even more obvious. Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw in women's basketball, and without her, many fans just aren't going to tune in. Now, you know what? Caitlin Clark just did something very smart. Instead of always being the most popular in the room, the smartest in the room, like if I walk into any room and I'm the most handsome and the smartest, I got to get out of that room. I mean, that room isn't doing anything for me. Let me explain. I don't know if you saw this, but during the Chiefs game, playoff game in Arrowhead or whatever the hell they call that stadium now, who was Caitlin Clark hanging with? Taylor Swift. Smart. In that duo, Taylor Swift dominates Clark, and Clark isn't the smartest, the most popular, the cool kid. But she elevated herself, hugging awkwardly after Travis Kelce ran for another 20 yards of yards after catch, like he did seemingly all day last weekend. See, that's wise. The Kelces are the perfect family to talk about relative to somebody more popular, elevating you. $100 million New Heights, the podcast of the Kelces got. You think they got it because Jason Kelce acts like a fat Yukon Moose Cholak? You think they got it because Kylie's kind of pretty and kind of smart? You think they got it because Travis Kelce catches touchdown passes from Patrick Mahomes? The answer is yes. That's how they got the podcast. But the $100 million? Oh, hell no. You had Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce stooping Taylor Swift, and next thing you know, you got $100 million in the podcast, and everybody's got a podcast. And oh, by the way, Kylie Jarrett, whatever the hell her name is, Kylie Kelce, her podcast, I do believe, passed Joe Rogan. So it's money well spent. But why? Taylor Swift. Same thing with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's star is only going to shine brighter because she handles herself with grace and class, and she's hanging out with the A-list stars. Whether you like Taylor Swift or not personally, I don't think Taylor Swift's all that. I think she dances like a combination of Elaine Bennis and Beyonce, the two worst dancers on stage ever. Look up the Elaine Bennis reference if you don't know. And I think she looks like 10 miles of bad road. But that's just me. What do I care? Little girls all across America paid hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to see her gyrate. She is the biggest star probably in the world. Well, Caitlin Clark's there in the suite with her. It elevates. If I'm the Unrivaled League, I go back to Caitlin Clark and say, what do you need? And then I give it to her. But Caitlin Clark seems beyond that, and that adds to her popularity. Less is more sometimes. A lesson that whoever dresses Angel Reese should learn. All right, Stephen A. Smith. Woo! I don't know what we got, but we got Stephen A. Smith every day. He's calling out AOC, the leader of the, quote, squad. I wish Donald Trump would make fun of the squad. I do. I wish he would make fun and kind of ridicule the squad. I think that'd be fun. I do. She took to Twitter and insanely voiced her opinion on President Trump, comparing him to Hungarian President Viktor Orbán, who, by the way, is a dictator. Oh, Smith went on to say, well, he already knows what the left has done, which is why people are tired of hearing that kind of rhetoric. Absolutely. The left-wing lawmaker and others want to continue this rhetoric. I just posted Tim Walz doing that Heil Hitler thing that everybody is complaining that Elon Musk did. I got little girls that I guess now grandmothers that I went to high school with bitching, whining, and moaning at me saying that I am in support of Hitler. I got to tell you, we saw what the left did. We know what Biden and his corrupt folk did. And we don't want it anymore. Come with ideas. Come with solutions. Stop with the idiotic name calling. AOC just can't stop. Just can't stop. And good for Stephen A. Smith as he makes his break from the hallowed halls of ESPN into the freedom of folks like us. Stephen A., I can help you out here. Get a hold of Gary. Get a hold of Aaron. They'll put you on TV. They'll give you a real show. Anyway, here's Stephen A. Smith going after AOC, who, by the way, is still kind of hot.
Did you talk about controlling the media? Is that what you brought up? So the left has had no control, huh? So the left has not engaged in bullying tactics. So woke culture didn't exist, where people had to make sure they echoed the right pronoun in order to keep their job security. Where you had to sit up there and, God forbid, you literally challenge somebody with regards to transgender issues and you were considered to be transphobic. Where 1 minute we were called upon to protect the young ladies and the women in our society, and then that got thrown out the window the second a male was transitioning to female and wanted to participate in female sports. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't any consistency with the stuff that had been being spewed beforehand and ultimately enforced. So that is the Republicans that we need to be worried about, but not y'all. Y'all would never do such a thing. Oh my goodness. It would never be you. It would never be y'all. That would never happen, huh? Really? Really? This is exactly why Trump is in office.
I mean, I can't understand him, and when he yells and screams, I kind of chuckle to myself, but he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. He is absolutely not wrong. I mean, I'm just saying, he's not wrong. I mean, you can say he's wrong. You know, everybody can bitch, whine, and moan, but we paid attention. Don't gaslight. See, here's what needs to happen. And this is very, very simple, and I'll do it without yelling like an idiot. Just stop bullshitting us. Just stop trying to gaslight us. Stop trying to get us on your side by insulting others. That's over. And it's been over. It was over before the election started. Once people saw, let me explain this to all of you out there, and tell me if you agree. Once we saw Tim Walz go up against J.D. Vance in the election, everybody that has a thinking brain that is not married to a party went, wait a second. They told us J.D. Vance was weird. What? Anybody with a brain, including those in the Democratic Party, could see that Tim Walz was arguably the most ridiculous caricature of a politician we've ever seen. And even folks on the left, who I know personally, were like, man, we got to do something. That guy's horrible. Tampon Tim was too easy. And it continued on and on and on. The Hitler thing, the fascism thing. I got pissed off when they called dudes like me garbage. Hell, I still have a friend, a lifetime friend, who's out there spewing that anybody that voted for Trump is a pass. Peace up. And I'm sitting there going, well, is it easier to do that, call somebody a name, than to figure out why they voted for Trump? I don't know, because both are pretty easy. When you put ridiculous candidates against a legitimate candidate, and you can no longer cheat because, as Trump said, it was too big to rig. And even Democrats wanted Trump in there by the end. You know, when Trump campaigned, he didn't talk about the normal stuff. If you noticed, he flipped a little bit. He started talking about God saved him, got hit in the ear. He started talking openly about what the campaign should be about from a spiritual standpoint. It's kind of weird. A lot of people could relate. Hey, if I'm on stage and I get shot in the ear, wait a second, I might have an epiphany as well. That resonated. While the other side kept calling us garbage, while the other side kept calling us weird, while the other side kept calling us Nazis and fascists, and Stephen A. Smith is not wrong. You had control. It's like yesterday, Bernie Sanders went out there and started bitching about Trump not fixing health care. He's been in office 2 days, and you've had 12 of 16 years, and you want him to clean up your mess. People that can think and see, we know that's BS. We know that's crap. So my advice, I'm open for business. I'm open to go Democratic. I'm open to go Republican. Give me a good candidate. Debate the issues for 4 years. Man, it's insane to me. It really is. It's insane. Hey, I'll defend Danny Hurley today, tomorrow, and the next day. I will. He's a friend of the show, sure. I like his family, of course. He's 2-time national champ. But I like the way he goes about his business. I like the way he's tougher than hell. I like the way he's brash. I like the way he's old school. I like the way he's not afraid. He's not a pandering clown. He took issue with the woke media constantly filming his reactions to bad calls and his mannerisms while turning a blind eye to other coaches' behaviors in the sport. Hurley was captured on camera. This is great. During the Huskies' win over Butler, saying to a ref, "Don't turn your back on me because I'm the best effing coach in the sport." Well, you knew that was going to piss off Jeff Goodman and others. And it's not like Goodman. It's got like everybody pissed off. But I got to tell you, I don't care. Bob Knight used to do that. You know, everybody started liking Coach Knight. Now, I will say to Danny Hurley, and this goes back to when I was playing 100 years ago, I'm running over from this side. The bench was over here. Danny's talking about a camera filming his every move. We knew there was a camera pointed towards our bench from the baseline. So here's the baseline. There's a camera pointed towards, and Knight would be here, and the court would go this way. So at the end, let's put it this way. So here's the court. Our bench was here. Camera would be here pointing at our bench. So I was over here. I got called over to Knight screaming at me, and I happened to catch out of my eye as I'm running over that red light, and the camera was on, so I knew the nation was going to get this exchange on NBC. Knight screaming at me because I had just fouled the guy. It was a big game. It was against Iowa my freshman year, his second half, and I'd made some good plays, but I just fouled a kid, Steve Carfino, and I'm running over. Knight's yelling at me, and he screams at me, "Are you going to play or what?" I go, "I'm playing." And I turned, and he grabbed me by the arm and spun me back, and the whole crowd went, "Ooh." And I knew that camera was on, and he yelled, "Don't you ever yell back at me." And I looked at him like, all right. So game's over. I drive home. I got nothing to do. I go see my high school girlfriend. I go to their house. Her dad and her brother are laughing at me because they saw it. They go, "Let me see your arm." And there were bruises on my arm. My point is, cameras have been pointing at coaches for a long time, so Danny Hurley's got this one wrong. However, he is right when he uses, "I'm the best coach in this sport." Knight used to do it as well. Krzyzewski did it as well. That's where he learned it. No, he did. But anyway, well, a lot of people are pissed off. Here's Danny Hurley's reaction to the camera always being on him. I love telling stories on myself. Here we go. Danny Hurley.
I think TV got you saying something like, "Don't turn your back on me. I'm the best coach in."
Did I say that? Oh. Yeah. I mean, I know we you know, I'm going to sound like an asshole here. So the TV likes me, camera. I bet you I'm going to have the GAs. I'll release it to the media too. What was the game on today? It was on FS1. I just wish they'd put the camera on the other coach more. Obviously I had a moment with Coach Dad Mata today because he was so far out of the box that I figure I would just go over and have a powwow with him and Pat. But I just wish they would show these other coaches losing their minds at the officials in other Big East games that I'm coaching, where I look going into a timeout when I'm not talking to officials. I see the other coaches as demonstrative as I am. But, the camera, obviously, I've created this for myself. I'm not no victim. But I just wish that they would not have the camera on me 90% of the time, unless they feel like it's driving ratings and more assholes on Twitter that could put clips of me from a game and say, yeah, look how big of a monster he is. He's yelling at a ref again. What a monster.
I love that answer. But I got to tell you, here's the deal. Fran McCaffrey is the coach at Iowa, and Bart Fox is the best producer of Big Ten basketball. And Bart Fox started this. We put a camera on Fran all the time because we know Fran's going to go to FranCon. So if you watch an Iowa game, now everybody that's with the Big Ten or ESPN doesn't do Iowa games, Fox, they have a camera on Fran. They do. I mean, Fran is not nearly as good as Hurley. I mean, Hurley's won 2 national championships. I don't think Fran's ever won a Big Ten title in 15 years, but he's insane. He goes nuts. He yells and screams, and I love it. So they put a camera on him. They put one on Bob Knight. They used to put one on Krzyzewski, and then Krzyzewski got smart. Krzyzewski would go like this. Nobody swore more than Krzyzewski. This is insight you're not going to find anywhere else. No, it just is. But Danny Hurley is right. They put a camera on him because people want to see his reaction. When you go to a UConn game, my guess is you're watching the game, and then if something happens, you look over on the bench and see how Danny's reaction. I got that at Bowling Green. Always. And I delivered. Jeff Goodman said, listen, I did this a few months ago with Hurley, and we haven't talked since. Full disclosure, I've known Danny 25 years, had him at my prep school tournament when he was at St. Benedict's. I like Danny, but I have a hard time liking him at times on the court. I really have. Because I just don't think, and Matt McCall can jump in on this because he's got way more insight into this than I do, no matter if you're pissed off at a call or not, no matter whether you think a ref sucks or not, there's a way to deal with refs. They're human beings. They miss calls. They're out there. Yeah, no. No, see, Jeff's right. He doesn't have the insight that a coach has. My deal is I don't give a damn what I have to do. And I've told this story before. We beat Toledo. Huge win for me on the road. I'm having a bowl of cereal about 2 in the morning when I got home. My mom comes down, and I thought she was going to tell me how much she loved me and how great I was. She said, Daniel, I'm embarrassed by the way you cussed, screamed, yelled today. And I hate to say this to my mom, but I don't care. I'll do anything I can to win that game. I get what Goodman's saying. I do. Times have changed. I understand. But they're not human to you as a coach. They're in your way as a coach. That's what referees are. They're in your way. They are impeding your success, and you must stand up to them. No, I get it. I mean, people see Danny Hurley, and they might not like it. They might be mad. It's bullshit. Danny Hurley is doing what he has to do in his own way to win games. That's what he's paid for. By the way, look around. Anybody hear about graduation rates anymore? Of course not. Anybody care about GPAs anymore? Of course not. It's about one thing and one thing only, winning games, and Hurley does that. Here's Goodman also, and I think the one other thing is if you're yelling and screaming at the players and chirping at them the whole time, I've always said it's much harder for them to do their jobs. That's right. It is. Of course it is. It's a pain in the ass to referees. And what you're hoping is you break them. What you're hoping is that you get them in a position where you're like, damn, I'm going to give this guy a couple calls, get him off my ass. If you're yelling and screaming at them when a play's going on, it's going to be harder for them to focus and get calls right. Just the way he talks to these guys, to me, at times is disgusting. It's disgusting and it needs to stop. No, it's not, and it doesn't, and it won't. See, you can't be a fraud when you're in coach. You can be a fraud when you're on TV. You can be a fraud in life. You can be a fraud as a father. You can be a fraud as a parent. You just can't be a fraud as a coach. If you're a fraud as a coach, people pick it up. And Danny Hurley is being who Danny Hurley is. And I've always said we have 350 million people in this country, and everybody's different. But everybody has their opinion. I don't besmirch Goodman for having an opinion. That doesn't bother me at all. I mean, he should have that opinion because the normal person probably has that opinion. But as a coach, like someone needs to talk to him about this and get him in line. It's not right. Again, they're human beings. Treat them as such. You're treating them as such. Look, anybody ever go out to a park in Gary, Indiana, or in Broad Street in Griffith, Indiana, where everybody from East Chicago, Hammond used to play? That's how we talk to each other. That's how people talk to each other at Glen Park School on Broadway. That's how people talk to each other in Chicago. That's how people talk to each other in basketball. And I get it. I do. In the age we live in, people don't like it. The bullying coach is out. The sensitive, more caring coach is out. But I, for one, am very glad that Danny Hurley acts this way. I, for one, enjoy Danny Hurley, and I wish more coaches were like Danny Hurley, because who you're trying to please is not the Dan Dakiches, the Jeff Goodmans of the world. You're pleasing yourself, you're pleasing your players, and you're pleasing their families. And any other way would not be the person that players at UConn signed up for. So, salute, Danny Hurley. Hope you come to Indiana. Coach IU. Let's go. Need more of that, not less of that. Yeah. Hey, NFL Draft and Freak Show, Ashton Jeanty spoke with Fox News Digital to provide high school and college players some great advice when it comes to navigating the current landscape of college athletics with regards to the transfer portal and NIL scrapes, while also imploring incoming freshmen to check their sense of entitlement once they arrive on campus to compete for a starting job. This is good advice right here. Nobody's going to pay attention to it, but it's great advice. Number one, don't chase the bag. Chase your goals and your dreams. Boy, that's great advice. Everyone seems to get away from that. I had a dream of being an NFL player 3 years ago, one of the best running backs. And I'm here walking in that because I didn't chase the bag. Now, you really can't make that statement. Had he chased the bag and gone to, you name it, Indiana, got a lot of money, Alabama got a lot of money, he'd still be an NFL prospect. I mean, see, I would argue you could do both. I would argue if you're Ashton Jeanty and you're that good, or you whomever and you're that good, Jeremiah Smith, you can chase a bag and become an NFL player. If you're Dan Dakich, you better stay in one place and hope you get to play. There's a difference. There's a big-time difference in levels. But if you're Dan Dakich and someone's going to pay you $400,000 to go play at that school, and you're going to have basically the same opportunity that you had a school paying you $50,000, probably should go to the other school. I didn't. I'm not the person to ask. I turned down and signed and didn't backed out of $500,000 to go back for $100,000, so I'm not the guy, but learned from my mistake. There are plenty of guys I've seen getting more money than me that I know for a fact weren't better than me. Okay, that was okay, but I knew if I kept putting work in, I'd get to where I want to be. Well, what you got to do is you got to have that mentality. That's the mentality. See, I think you can chase the money and still have that mentality. Why not? I mean, look, if I'm playing at Boise State, it worked out for Ashton Jeanty. I wonder how many guys it didn't work out for. I don't know. Usually works out for running backs, at least under the Saban era at Alabama, wide receivers at Georgia. It usually works out if you go to Ohio State and you're that good. I mean, you're going to get the bag. You're going to play from up top, swimming downstream for a national championship. Let's be honest, Boise State's swimming upstream. Got to damn near be perfect. And then you get a tough draw. You got to play teams that are paying players much more than you. But Jeanty's different. And I like his advice, though. I'm just telling you the way of the world. You got to trust the process because you can't expect all that. No entitlement. You got to earn it. True that. I don't care how good you are. You come on. I've seen so many good players act entitled. The worst thing you could be is dumb and arrogant. Now, if you're dumb and you know you're dumb, like me, you make provisions to cover the stupidity. If you're dumb and don't know that you're dumb and you're entitled and arrogant, you got no chance. If you're smart and you're arrogant, that could be a problem too. If you're smart and not arrogant, boy, now you got a real shot. So entitlement does factor in. He's not wrong. You might have done something in high school, but when you get to college, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter how many stars you got, none of that. I've seen 5 stars who were trash. I've seen 3 stars who are really good, vice versa. But the common thing is just the work ethic and stay focused on the goal. Boy, is that true. But I'm telling you, you're telling me that if he left Boise State and went to Ohio State, now, wouldn't have been a good move because they had 2 really good backs, but the kid left Mississippi Junkins, whatever his name is, went to Ohio State, got the bag, kept working, got a national championship, and by all accounts is going to be a real early draft pick. Seems like it worked out. You can do both. But the underlying theme of leave that entitlement at home, man, is that true? Hey, Mike Pereira, longtime NFL ref and former vice president of officiating for the NFL, is speaking out. He's blasting the idea that the NFL favors Patrick Mahomes. Really? All right. Okay. No special treatment, Pereira says. Here it is. It doesn't resonate with me at all. Well, I would think not. Resonates with me as a coach. Shouldn't resonate with you as an ex-official. The fact that you're looking out for anybody, any team, any individual is a myth. It's an absolute myth. You don't have time to react and say, this is golf. I'm not going to call this because it's golf, or this is Mahomes. I've got to call this because it's Mahomes. Yeah. Really? Yeah, if you say so, and you should say so. I mean, you're probably, I don't know, probably one of the leading voices in refereeing. I mean, let's go to Mike Pereira. What are you going to say? These are all your boys. You probably hired most of them. You did. You probably, said, hey, man, come on in. So, of course, you're going to defend them, just like coaches are going to say, yeah, of course. Players are going to say, yeah, of course they're protecting Mahomes. Of course. And it doesn't matter because there's people who say that don't know. Oh, wait, it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me because those people who say that don't know a damn thing about officiating. I do. I know a lot about it. Took courses in it. And I got to tell you, it sure seems like tie goes to Mahomes. If it looks like two heads colliding and Mahomes is in there, tie goes to Mahomes. Now, you can say I don't know anything, and that's fine, but I kind of do. I sort of kind of do. Used to go to seminars on officiating. Know a little bit about it, but tie sure seems to go to Mahomes. And it's going to be interesting this week because you can't get something solved, a problem, unless you bring the problem to the forefront. And many, many people are bringing that problem to a forefront, or at least that issue. When the issue becomes a topic on shows like mine, particularly mine because, well, we get a worldwide audience, then it has a tendency to get solved. We'll see this weekend. So suck it, the whole thing about don't know about officiating, until you actually put that uniform on and until you have to make those quick judgments. If you haven't done it and you don't recognize how hard it is in real time and how easy it is in super slow motion, then get out of my train. Get off my train. I mean it. Good. Well, if you mean it, Mike, I mean, I thought you were just kidding. Are we getting out of your train or are we getting off your train? Just stop. Just stop. I don't care what you mean. No, tie has gone to Mahomes. And good for Troy Aikman for pointing it out. He did a great job of saying that's a bad call. Now, you can't, look, as a broadcaster, you can't come out and say it, but I'll tell you what I did say, and this really pissed people off, like really pissed. I would say this. Let's say that I am doing, I don't know, an early season game, Bowling Green against Michigan. When calls went against Bowling Green, which they always did, I would say, look, you referee in the Big Ten, you get a couple, I don't know, $25,000 to $3,000 a game. You referee in the MAC at the time, you're getting $750 a game. Which coach you going to protect? The coach in the league that pays you $3,000 a game, or the coach in the league that pays you $750 in a game? Boy, would people get pissed when I was, because it's factually true. And it's emotionally true. I can't tell you. We're playing Izzo. It's a 1-point game. They're number one in the country. We come out the second half like 7 straight calls against us, and I'm like, this is absurd. So you can kiss my ass with that, Mike Pereira. You know, I've kind of learned that no matter what happens during the game, something's going to come out about it if you win and continue to win. So I don't really pay attention to it. Of course you do. I mean, you're giving this long speech. Well, this is Mahomes. So I don't really pay attention to it. Of course you do, Patrick. You paying attention to it. You know it. You're not. Look, you're on social media. You read the papers. I've been on both sides of it as far as I felt calls were made. But at the end of the day, man, those guys are doing the best. There you go. Yeah. Get under the desk, Patrick Mahomes, doing the best to make the best calls and keep it to where the players are making the plays in the game. And that's what decides the outcome. Obviously, there was a call here or there people to agree with, but at the same time, I think there was a lot of other plays that really decided the outcome of that football game. Duh. That's what I got for you. Of course. But, boy, those are some big calls. 15 yards is a lot. First down when it's going to be fourth down. Game-changing, game-swinging plays. Don't at me about it.